gentlemen, what's up? What's going on? It's episode 2 of season 5 of the Rufus Rundown. So, of course, the opening episode to the new year and to the new season was the news of Damar Hamlin. Now, as I sit here today, the news has much improved, and we will get into that. But now it gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit about season 5, what we're looking at. With season 5 of the show. Like I had mentioned in the past, we're going to have I'm going to have some shorter shows and some shorter videos with just one take at a time introduction. Probably going to get some of those this week. Going to school, getting the groove of that and getting those, not scripts, but getting those layouts, getting that layout kind of done into what I want to talk about, one thing at a time and one take at a time. And I think that's certainly going to be helpful to me and to the viewer, to process more of the information and also just allow me to get content out there. Because overall, once you drop a couple of those, you really could have a full podcast by the end of the week. And I'm still going to be try to do one of these, bigger shows a week. This one not going to be as long on a little bit of a schedule here. But anyways, we're going to have calls, NFL picks this show, a little bit of, week 18 rundown, who's going to the playoffs, what are we looking at. I'll get to my picks at the end. A couple of calls to get to. I'll be doing a show before the college football playoff as well, so I'll have something specific to that. Like I said, one take at a time. That's going to be the introduction of it. It'll be the college football playoff. I haven't yet decided if I'm going to make a separate podcast for it, or if I'm just going to post it exclusively to YouTube, or if I'm just going to post it on my podcast page. I don't know if I'm counting it as an episode yet, or if I'm only counting the big episodes. Yet to decide that, if it's going to be a separate tag, season whatever. But that would mean that on the podcast page, I would have to separate that. I would have to separate it from the show, and I'd have to make some new logo art. So I'm not entirely sure yet. It's still going to be Rufus Rundown show. So, that logo sticks. That stays. It's still going to be posted on the page. So, have yet to decide on all that. Which, if you're interested in any of that, any of those updates, social media, at Rufus Rundown for Instagram, Twitter. I think it's the Rufus Rundown on Instagram. I'm not positive. But all those socials will link down in the bio. TikTok as well. Rufus Rundown. I got to post a lot of stuff on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, on all of those. If you search up the Rufus Rundown, all the links are in the description, but if you search the Rufus Rundown for sure, stuff's going to pop up. The website as well. I just haven't blogged in a little bit. We really don't have to. I have this. This is my outlet. This is where I put takes. This is how I handle things. So again, 5 years, gonna be the 5th year, but when it's all said and done, I really think this is the year where we can actually, get into something. I've been really enjoying making content in the recent periods of time. Certainly have this year. Views have been doing very, very well. And like I said, I haven't figured it all out. But I certainly believe that I'm on to something. So I'm excited for what the year's going to bring. Of course, up there in that little box, see it. Voicemails, texts. Obviously looking forward. Live shows are definitely an option in the near future if we can stay consistent. If I stay consistent, then callers stay consistent. We have 3 voicemails to get to today. Live shows are certainly going to be a thing in the future. I'm going to have to, there's going to be some things to try, can't really screen the calls, so it's going to be live, and I don't really have a dump button if it is live, so it's going to be hard to, there's some things that I'm going to have to figure out to get it done, but certainly, excited for the opportunity to do that in the coming months, as I continue to push forward with the Rufus Rundown and the content that I have here. Slowly but surely, we're gonna get there. But we've been building up views and stuff right now. Been very good. Been pumping out a lot of content. I'm gonna continue to do that within the new year, and I have some tools to do so. I'm excited. I really am excited. So again, a little update on Damar Hamlin. Get to some phone calls, and then NFL picks. A little NFL rundown and some NFL picks. So, anyways, Damar Hamlin is now, he's speaking. He had to get the breathing tube out. He addressed his teammates. He's been talking to his family. And just incredible, because we didn't really didn't know what the future was going to hold for Damar Hamlin. We found out that he did, in fact, lose that pulse when he was on the field, and that if the CPR in the medical attention was not there and the CPR was not administered when it was, Damar would have been lost. So everything was handled incredibly well by the Bills training staff and the medical professionals on that field, saving his life, and then the continued effort to save his life at the University of Cincinnati medical facility. All of it came together to save this young man's life. And he's had an incredible impact on fans, sports fans as a whole, Bills fans, the Bills team. It's an incredibly emotional experience. The NFL has announced that the game was canceled, that they will not move forward with that game, and that they will go based off of winning percentages for the playoffs. And they're going to do some other things in the playoffs, like maybe a neutral AFC Championship game is one of the things that they have talked about. So interested to see how that all plays out. But first and foremost, Damar Hamlin's health has improved. The best case scenario for him is to get back to playing football at the elite level that he was playing it at. That's the best case. So best case is everything goes back to normal. Again, like an incredible emotional experience. When he originally woke up, and he still had the breathing tube, so he couldn't talk, but they had him right. He asking who won, but as much real Rod Tidwell you're gonna get. If anybody's seen Jerry Maguire, Rod Tidwell gets up and does his thing. We didn't get to see that with Damar Hamlin as much as we would have liked to. But everything has been on the rise. Everything has been trending in the right direction for Damar Hamlin. And the power of prayer, the power of support, the money. He's gonna see the money that was raised. The support that he received. He's gonna see just all of it now, and I think it's it's gonna be very overwhelming for him. A lot of his high school teammates that are in the league. He's got college teammates they're in the league, like other NFL, like just everybody is happy, so happy that his health has trended in the right direction, and that these people were able to step up and do their jobs as medical professionals and save his life, save this young man's life. So again, really, really cool news. And I think it certainly gives the Bills locker room a boost. Not the 1 seed right now. They're going to need some help to get that 1 seed back. But like I said, there's going to be other things that play out in these playoffs situationally that still could give the Bills some form of a boost. Whether it be that neutral site game, the NFL, obviously, like I said, there's going to be decisions made by people. Not everybody's going to be happy with those decisions. But first and foremost, the health of that young man came first. And they have decided to move on from that game. And, we'll make the adjustments in the future as he continues to recover. So, again, hoping he makes a full recovery. Still continue to pray for that full recovery. But everything has trended very well in the right direction for the health of Damar Hamlin. And I could not be more happy to hear that. Next up, we got some phone calls. Some of these are scattered throughout the week. So, some is college football playoff related, some related to NFL, and one's an MLB related one, which we'll get into all of that on the show. Right now. I'm just going to address the calls. I address the calls. Then it's a little bit of an NFL rundown with some picks, because we got 2 Saturday games and the rest of the Sunday slate and a lot of implications. So, without further ado, we will get into the voicemails.
Hey, Lucas, this is Tyler Sumner, former Dean College Bulldog with you here. And as you know, I am a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. But before I get into what I have to say about the Dallas Cowboys, of course, prayers out to Bills safety Damar Hamlin. Very, very scary situation there. It's very unfortunate what happened. And it just sometimes brings you to tears, not only as an athlete as you are, but as a football fan and a sports fan like I am. You never want to see anything like that happen to anybody. But that aside, I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys here. They have a shot at winning the NFC East this coming weekend against the Washington Commanders if the New York Giants beat the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think is likely. The Eagles are not playing well as of late. They're missing Jalen Hurts, of course. But the one thing I want to talk about the Cowboys with is the defense. This was a defense that in the first 10 weeks of the season we said, okay, nobody's going through this defense. And as of late, they're barely finding ways to make turnovers and make plays happen on the defensive side of the football. Granted, Micah Parsons is still that defensive playmaker, but I just really want to know your thoughts. Like, what do you think the Cowboys need to do besides obviously manage the clock in the playoffs, but what do you think they need to do to get to the NFC Championship in that aspect, as CeeDee Lamb is playing the best football of his career so far, and Tony Pollard's there as well. But what do you think needs to happen? I'm curious. Thanks, Lucas, for your time, and prayers out to Damar Hamlin.
Appreciate the call, Tyler. What are the? I mean, yeah, obviously everything that happened to Damar, everything trending in the right direction, but obviously, off the bat, incredibly scary stuff, incredibly emotional stuff. So the prayers appreciated there. But thank you for the call, Tyler. Cowboys wise, I don't see the. I mean, I think the Giants. We'll lead into some of the picks I'm gonna make. I think the Giants will cover the spread. It's 14.5, though. I just don't see the Giants beating the Eagles if it's a 14.5 point spread. I don't see bookies throwing money away like that. That's just how it is. You look at the numbers. It could be a huge upset, but I don't see it happening. Especially if Jalen Hurts plays, they might not play well. But I think even on a bad day, they're better than the Giants. I still don't have complete faith in the Giants, but hey, nice win against the Colts. Getting to the NFC Championship, you're going to have to... Dak Prescott's going to have to beat Tom Brady. That's reality, right? The way the seeding's set. Unless you manage to hop up in there in the 1 seed and hope the Eagles lose. That's a path. That's certainly a path. Because the Packers could very well go, draw the Vikings as the 2 seed. And just go beat them again if they make it in. So... that's the path. The path is to not have to go through Tom Brady and the Bucs in Tampa. That's the path you want to take. What do I see? How do you advance in the playoffs with the Dallas Cowboys? Don't have Dak Prescott as your quarterback. Solid defense, yes, Trevon Diggs. The secondary's played pretty well. Micah Parsons getting after the passer, doing his thing on defense. The defense is solid. I don't know if I would consider it up there with the elite defenses, but they're certainly good enough. But they're not good enough to overcome the turnovers from Dak Prescott. Tied for the league in interceptions, and he's missed a bunch of time. Reality is that you put as good as your defense can be, you put added pressure on that defense when you're turning the football over and you're forcing them into making stops on a short field consistently. So controlling the football is a big thing. You have 2 very solid running backs. I would use Tony Pollard on first and second down a lot. They have to figure out those splits better. I think I would use Tony Pollard as the number 1 back, and then I would change the pace up and get downhill with Ezekiel Elliott in terms of what they do in the red zone. You have to trust your run game because the decision-making of Dak Prescott is going to continue to put you in the hole. And they've shown that considerably, that his turnovers have seriously hurt the Dallas Cowboys. And again, that's going to put a lot of added pressure on your defense, and you just don't want to deal with that, especially come playoff time. Added pressure on your defense is going to result in scores for the other team, and that's just something you don't want to consistently do. Something that Dak Prescott has consistently done. So that's the biggest thing I see is not allowing Dak to turn over the football, which is, at this point, inevitably going to happen. But you have to lean on your run game and keep the ball out of the other team's hand, especially on a short field, so you don't put that added pressure on your defense. So next up, college football call. Let's see what we got.
What's up, Lucas? It's Drew Lawrence here, and I just wanted to ask you a little quick question about the national championship spread. What are we looking like? What would you cook up for some good bets for the national championship spread? I'm pulling up the lines right now. If you wanna hear them.
Did we lose you? Did we lose you, Drew?
We got
There we go.
we got fucking Georgia, I think, at
Yeah, it's a big spread. It's a big
minus
spread.
13.
It's a big spread.
The over-under at 62 points. Georgia minus 550 points.
As they should be at minus
or
13.
not point favorites, but for the money line. So what are we looking on those bets? What would you take, Lucas?
Congratulations to your Georgia Bulldogs, by the way, Drew, for making it to back-to-back national championships. All right, so the deal is that college football-wise, in terms of the history of the national championship and the college football championship, these big, minus 12.5. Minus 12.5, Georgia's favored by. These big favorites don't fare well. Not only do they not fare well in covering the spread, they fare well, or don't fare so well in winning the game at all. These big favorites, they lose consistently. So TCU going to be, I believe, without their starting running back due to injury. You got two Heisman quarterbacks going at it with Duggan and Stetson Bennett, which got some pretty cool stories both attached to them. Should be an entertaining game. TCU, I don't know if they really grasp, or even if they have to grasp how big of a game they are playing in, and whether that's a positive or negative. I think it's more positive. They don't really understand nor care for the situation that they're in. They're just going out and playing ball. Again, I do not, once Georgia gets rolling, I don't see Georgia losing this football game. That's just a tough money line bet to take at minus 550, considering they're 12.5 point favorites. I don't know if I touch the spread. I mean, because again, that's just a lot of points. And historically, they don't even win the game, these big favorites. Over-under, considering the scoring of the last two games, 62.5 seems like a gimme. Chris Santos texted into the show, and I'll have to pull up the text line. But, what was it? 42-41 was one of the scores. And then 51-45 is the other score. Clearly defense not at its highest level right now in the game of college football. But it's not like it's just the defense. I mean, there's some offensive dudes that are just making plays. Some throws some quarterbacks are making, but also, some of these, high-level talents we have on the offensive side of the football, just flat out making plays. So I think the over is a safe bet. If you got passing yards, player props, I'd take the over in both. I'd take the Max Duggan rushing yards over. And then, receiver-wise, I think Brock Bowers. I'd take anytime touchdown Brock Bowers. I'd take the over in his receiving, and I would take. I think with the rushing touchdowns, for quarterback, it's like first touchdown can be rushing, right? If I would take a Max Duggan first touchdown rushing bet. Spread I wouldn't touch. Money line I wouldn't touch. But the player props I'm all for. That's what I'm all for here. Just the player props, and I would take the over. That's how I'd run it with this game. Again, I'm gonna have a specific show just for that, for some prop picks and such. But I'll get to that on Sunday night, and it'll be out for Monday for the national championship, one that I am, very excited for. As should anybody else be. TCU, great story. Georgia is still one of the most talented teams in college football. And, Kirby Smart doing his thing. And I don't understand the hate for Georgia from a lot of people. Maybe it's just because of your charming character, Drew. Maybe that's why I just see it as people disliking Georgia. Maybe it's because, they hate you because they ain't you, and they just don't want to see you up. Maybe that's the reason that I see so much hate for Georgia. It's just because of, we got the guys from Tennessee, we get the guys from Bama, and then there's obviously they got their schools. They're not big fans of Georgia, but everybody else I just don't see why we hate Georgia so much. But they hate you because they ain't you, because they're not in the national championship game. So that's the reality. I don't know. I don't understand why. I think it's a pretty cool story. They're not like Bama, where they're there every single year. Have been. Yeah, and it's not like I root against teams for being there every single year, but it is nice to see a change. Like TCU, Georgia, this is a welcome change. And Georgia put together some really talented teams and some good recruiting classes. So, again, really excited for the national championship come Monday. And I'll do a full breakdown coming up on Monday. But Drew, thank you for the call. Yeah. bet the over because, the last couple of games in college football. I mean, even a lot of the bowl games, too, shootouts or just flat-out blowouts, too. But, yeah, bet the over. That's what I would roll with. And we got one more call to get to. Talking a little Raphael Devers.
What up, Lucas? It's Wade, man. You know how it is around here. I cannot describe how happy I am with the Raphael Devers deal. Let me just say that first and foremost as a Red Sox fan. I think I can speak for some of Red Sox Nation that this, let me tell you, I really am beyond happy that we got this deal done. I hope fans agree with me. But it also doesn't change the fact that we still need to spend more. There definitely is some areas of concern. I feel like that they definitely need another solid shortstop to replace Bogarts. Obviously not a lot of options left. Pitching is still a big issue. I'd say you could probably trade for a starter. Don't know if there's any other solid options out there, though, right now for free agency. But on the other hand, I feel like this is a great sign for Boston for years to come. John Henry just needs to step up his game. Bloom needs to step up his game. There's just a lot of moving factors now. I feel like it's a good first step for John Henry's bridge with the Red Sox fans. For me, at least, he just needs to do a little bit more, in my opinion, at least. I just want your thoughts on this. And, yeah, that's all there is to it. Have a good night, man.
Wade, totally appreciate the call. I think when I originally did the calls on one of the previous shows, the basketball, Wade definitely called in. So, not a first-time call there, but first time in a while, because, I haven't done these in a while. Wade, appreciate the call very much. Building the bridge, yeah, you could say that. This is just John Henry trying to sell tickets now at this point because he knew that if he didn't resign Devers and they wanted to get something for him in terms of value, they weren't going to be able to trade him before they started selling season ticket packages, so they had to do something. I like the deal because it was under $400 million. I expected it to be more expensive, but then, defensively, he's not the most sound player, so pretty understood he wasn't going to get the $400 million. And still, obviously, character-wise, he's still very young. We're still showing that, character-wise. But also, you look at the side-by-side when you compare him and Austin Riley, and the Braves' business model right now just incredible. They got Riley locked up for $100 million less, pretty much putting up the same numbers. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I'm just glad that we got to keep Devers around, and it was, a reasonable contract for him. I still think even as much money as he got. The John Henry bridge with me is burned, and Chaim Bloom's bridge is not. I'm specifically upset with Chaim Bloom. I don't think Chaim Bloom is making the decisions based off what he thinks best for the baseball team. I think he's making it based off of what he's being told to do by ownership, which is pretty much rip this thing apart and run it like it's the Tampa Bay Rays, but we're still going to charge fans an incredible amount for tickets and TV deals and everything like that. So, yeah, the John Henry bridge of me is burned. Very, very, very much anti-Red Sox ownership at this point. Considering what they did with Xander Bogaerts and what that contract would have been like, what are we doing? Even for a couple of less years and the same annual, same value of the contract, what are we doing? Do we not want to win? Because the pitching staff clearly not looking too hot. They're thinking about moving Kike to short at a center. I know we can play these positions, but the Trevor Story contract looking more and more terrible. That's your Bogarts replacement, Trevor Story. Nobody likes that. So, yeah, I'm happy. As you should be with the Devers contract. I think any Red Sox fan should be happy that they're keeping Devers around. Because as my friend to me put it, he goes, I don't, if I go to see a Red Sox game, I don't want to be seeing the Pittsburgh Pirates out there. Well, you still might be, but you'll just have the Pittsburgh Pirates with Rafael Devers. Teach this kid first base. That's the way I see it. Teach him first base, DHing in his future. He's not as big as, listen, no one's ever going to be the next David Ortiz. But, there's some similarities there. I get some of the same a little bit of a similar vibe from Rafael Devers as I did with David Ortiz. Clearly different physical builds, different character, yes. But as he matures, he might be able to, be that solid bat in the middle of our order for years to come that we can build around if ownership decides to actually do that. Or just continue to scam fans out of what they say they're trying to do to win baseball games, when in reality they are not. But again, we'll see what the future holds with that. Again, I'm not very upset with Red Sox ownership. But I'd have to do more research, script a lot of that out. Again, the Austin Riley side-by-side kind of scared me, Rafael Devers. But of course, service time is different for those guys. How deep they were into their current contract has to do. So as it plays out, I think value-wise, this is a good contract for the Red Sox. It's a good contract for Rafael Devers, and it bodes well for the future of our middle of the order for years to come. What is placed around that in terms of pitching, in terms of the rest of the lineup, obviously we'll have to see. There are certainly additions we have to make, additions I don't think they will make. I know they're trying to wheel and deal with Miami right now for a pitcher and I believe a shortstop. So we'll see how it plays out. But I have zero confidence in Red Sox ownership in the front office right now to do anything right. So I'm not anticipating them doing anything right. Again, but we'll just have to see, how it plays out. Baseball right now, man. I don't know. What was it? 11 years. I think $330 million for Rafael Devers. If I punch it in real quick. Again, I think it's gonna bode well. I definitely think it's gonna bode well for the Red Sox long term. Trevor Bauer is going to be out there in the market if the Red Sox are looking for pitchers. But again, I don't. The Mookie Betts thing, I was actually okay with them letting Mookie Betts go. Hasn't really panned out. Then you let Bogarts just walk. That's terrible. That's a leader. That's a guy that if you're going to keep Devers, it'd be good to keep Bogarts around to continue to mentor him. That didn't happen. And now you just got Devers, $331 million, 11 years. So. Again, I feel like we're going to find good value out of it, but you got to. I think Devers is the type of guy where he's not ready to take over that face of the franchise role yet, and you still had Bogarts there who could have really helped him grow into that. And you could have had two solid bats in the middle of the order and two guys on that side of the infield that were solid. But again, we'll see how it plays out. I think we're all very happy because I didn't think we had any chance in keeping him here. I thought they were just going to trade him during the season so they could still sell their season tickets. And not do it before, so they would lose money on that because people don't want to go see nobody. So that's what I thought that was going to happen. Turns out we're keeping around for a while. And, hey, Carlos Correa is still out there. I know there's worries about the injuries and such, but hey, if he wants another 1 year prove-it deal like he had in Minnesota, Correa's still out there. He's not the Mets haven't broken it off yet, but the people got to be making some phone calls or at least keeping tabs on that. So, I'll be interested to see where the market holds up and how the Red Sox decide to move forward. Again, zero confidence in Red Sox ownership to do so. So, finally, we got some NFL picks. We get the NFL rundown. The Bills need to win. The Chiefs need to lose them at the 1 seed. The Bengals are the champions of the North but have no chance at the 1 seed. Titans, Jags tonight for playoffs for the AFC South. Chiefs, Raiders. Chiefs need to win to maintain that 1 seed. Patriots, Bills. Coming off of, obviously a lot of emotion for the Bills. They're all divisional games this week, and I really like to take the points in the divisional games. But you can't just take all. You can take all dogs. Go right ahead, but wouldn't recommend it. Should be some high-scoring games. So this Chiefs-Raiders game. So, anyways, without further ado, cue the music. We got Chiefs, Raiders in Las Vegas. Chiefs favored by 9. I'm taking the Raiders to cover the spread. Winner of that one. I am going to take the Chiefs to win it, maintain that 1 seed. But like I said, the playoffs are going to play out a little bit differently this year. All things considered. Titans, Jaguars in Jacksonville. Jags favored by 6.5. Hammer that for them to win and cover the spread. The Titans have zero chance in this football game. Then we got Buccaneers, Falcons. Tom Brady Buccaneers, they can't really change their seeding, so, Atlanta, favored by 4. And again, we're not sure how much Brady is going to be set to play, or any of the starters for that matter. I'm still taking the Buccaneers to cover the spread and win that football game. The Falcons, bad football team. Just not a good football team. Patriots, Bills favored by 7. I'm hammering, not to sound insensitive, but the positive picks. But football, a lot of people play football for the release it gives you from everything, throughout their entire lives. And NFL guys get there kind of as a release. Now they're professionals. But there's no other game like it in terms of the physicality of it, where you can release just stress. And every bit of vulnerability and emotion that you saw from the Bills and Bengals and those players, they get to release that this Sunday. And it's in Buffalo. The breathing tube's out. Damar Hamlin's addressed his team. I'm hammering everything Bills and everything for their future bets as well. Anyways, Vikings-Bears. Vikings favored by 6. It's in Chicago. No Justin Fields. Give me the Vikings to cover the spread and win. And then Ravens, Bengals, Cincinnati by 9. Yeah, I had Cincinnati at 7.5 on another sheet. I got a 9 here. Give me Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to blow them out. No Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. And we move forward to the playoffs, and the Bengals, as a 3 seed. Texans, Colts, Indy minus 2.5. The Texans 2-13-1. The Colts 4-11-1. It's the toilet bowl this weekend. The Texans looking for a loss to maintain that number 1 pick, because they have to lose to maintain it. And I still see the Colts being so bad under Jeff Saturday that the Texans win outright and cover the spread and lose that number 1 pick for the Texans. Then we got Jets, Dolphins. Jets 7-9, Dolphins 8-8. Jets out of the playoffs last week. I got the Dolphins, even with the 3rd-string quarterback. I got the Dolphins minus 3, winning and covering that spread. Panthers, Saints to follow. Saints by 3, favored by 3.5. Got the Saints winning this ball game, but the Panthers covering that 3.5 point spread. Browns, Steelers in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh will be favored by 2.5. Of course, the Browns going through a lot right now with Jadeveon Clowney. He's been told to go home because he said he's probably not going to be back with them. So you got Browns, Steelers. Steelers need to win to keep their season alive. Steelers win and cover the spread. Chargers, Broncos. Denver minus 3. Denver, yes, the Denver Broncos favored by 3. I think the Chargers are going to be looking, they got to be looking to rest people. The bookies have to know something here. Denver favored by 3. Believe it or not, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos to win this football game. But I am going to take the Chargers to cover that spread. But yes, a little bit of a trap game here for the Chargers going to the playoffs. And I'm going to take the Broncos to win, but the Chargers cover that 3 point. Actually. Give me Denver cover the spread too. Denver's going to cover the win and cover the spread. Trap game for the Chargers. Giants, Eagles. Eagles favored by 14. Give me the Giants to cover the spread. Eagles to win the football game. Jalen Hurts is going to be back. That's a crazy spread. These are 2 playoff football teams. It's 14. That tells you everything they need to think about the New York Giants. Not exactly the most for real playoff football team. But anyways, it's for conversation right there. Cardinals, 49ers, San Fran favored by 14.5, coming off of a close battle with the Vegas Raiders. Give me the 49ers. The Cardinals are just a terrible franchise right now, and I don't even know what quarterback they're going to be playing. Give me the 49ers. Rams, Seahawks favored by 6. Give me the Rams outright over the Seahawks. Baker Mayfield upsets the Seahawks season, which sets up a crazy Sunday night matchup between the Lions and Packers. Anyways, before that, though, we got Cowboys, Commanders, Dallas favored by 7. Give me the Commanders to cover the spread. It's Sam Howell. Ron Rivera didn't know that the Commanders were going to had a chance to be eliminated. I don't know how that happens as a professional football coach. I don't know how you don't know your team has a chance to be eliminated. And in such case, he said, I'm going to play around with the quarterback position, see if we can get something out of Carson. And if we can't, we'll go back to Taylor and probably the game next week, where we can, actually have this, where we can try and get, we have to win next week against the Jets. Well, it turns out that they could lose that week. They did, and things played out that knocked them out of contention. So now they're going to rock with the rookie, Sam Howell. Give me the Commanders to cover the spread. Cowboys to win the ball game. Packers, Lions, Green Bay -4.5. Detroit has to travel to Lambeau and win to go to the playoffs. I want Detroit to be a playoff team. But I'm not going to pick my Lions cover the spread. Packers win to go to the playoffs. They control their own destiny. Win and they're in. So I got the Packers to close it out with a W over the Lions. But the Lions cover the spread. That is all the time we have on this episode. Hope the picks make you some money. The picks were pretty good last week. But overall, hope you enjoyed the show and the calls. Please be sure to continue to leave text and voicemails. Any of your sports thoughts, send them my way. I'll address them on the show. But thank you, everybody, for your time and the continued support. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you listen to it on Apple, please continue to subscribe and listen and support the show. But it is your boy Rufus, signing off.